And welcome back to another episode of Casey Campbell's Videocast. Of course, I'm Casey Campbell with Great Lakes Post, and joining me from his car is Georgia baseball coach Scott Stricklin. Scott, good to talk to you.
Hey, Casey, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's a nice sunny day in Georgia right now, but I know that it's been tough not being out on the field. And first off, how are you doing? And then how is your team doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. It is tough when you go outside and it's 75 to 80 degrees almost every day. It's predictable when all of a sudden we can't play. We've had the best spring weather that we've had since I've been down here in Athens. So we've had great weather and which helps a little bit with us being able to get outside as a family and walk our dogs and just do some activities outside at our home. And our players are doing the same thing. Our players are mostly at home with their families and just trying to stay active, trying to get outside and throw. We've loosened some restrictions here in Georgia in the last week or so. Some places have opened up where they can go and hit and throw. And, right now they're hoping that they're getting ready for either the Major League Draft or for their summer baseball teams.
Yeah, you got a couple players that that are possibly getting ready for the MLB draft. How are they doing and how are they progressing?
Well, I mean, again, all we can do is just kind of touch base with them by phone. And we've had a few Zoom meetings with our team, but they're all doing really well. Emerson Hancock, Cole Wilcox, Ryan Webb are all three guys that are, projected to go very high in this draft. And they're really hard workers. They're self-starters. They don't need anybody to motivate them. So they're working really hard from home, trying to get ready. And, again, we don't know what this draft is going to look like. We don't know when it's going to be, but they'll be ready for it whenever it takes place.
You talk about Emerson for a second. Being from Michigan and the Tigers having the first pick in the draft, what if Emerson goes to a team? What could people expect from him?
Well, first of all, just the intangibles are off the charts, and it's really rare to find a kid who's really talented, who's also really hardworking, that checks every single box off the field, and he does that. He's a really motivated kid. He's a kid that when he came here, he had an opportunity to sign out of high school, but then he made the decision that he's going to make an investment in himself and really, quite frankly, gamble on himself to come to school for 3 years and get bigger, faster, stronger, and smarter. And now all of a sudden he went from being a guy that could have probably gone somewhere in the second round out of high school, and now all of a sudden he's looking at being a top 5 overall pick and possibly the number 1 overall pick. So really good stuff, really projectable, hardworking, great kid off the field. He is a player that a fan base can really get behind.
When you look at, I know the season was shortened, but overall, how do you think you did?
Well, we were 14-4 overall. We had a little bit of a slip up in our last 3 midweek games that we struggled with, but overall on the weekend, and that's what I've talked about. You win championships on the weekend. That's when regionals and super regionals, that's when they're played. And we were 14-1 in those games, and I thought played really well. We had a little bit of ups and downs, but that's the beginning of the season. You expect to see that. But we had some times that we came out slow out of the gate, but then finished strong. We had a couple walk-off wins, and against our arch rival Georgia Tech, who's a top 25 team, really good team. We played our best baseball and swept them, and I think that's what we were looking forward to getting into the SEC, is playing teams with the caliber of talent like Georgia Tech every single weekend, and we felt like that we can compete with anybody in the country.
I know college coaches have been adjusting to the this new normal with recruiting and stuff, and like what we're doing right now. How has recruiting been different?
Well, there's really not been any recruiting as far as going out on the road. There's been a moratorium put on outside recruiting, so that's at least until May 31st. We're hoping on June 1st we're going to be able to get out and see players. But the way that college baseball goes and recruiting goes, our 2020 class is done. Our 2021 class is virtually done. So the 22 class and the 23 class, we're not even allowed to call those kids. We can't even email them or text them. So we've been taking some calls from them. They're allowed to call us, but really there's not a whole lot been going on. We've been keeping in touch with our 20 kids that might be going in the draft, and just staying in touch with our 21 kids to see how they're doing. But virtually everything's been shut down. So it's been slow going. It's been, quite frankly, it's been a little bit boring, But yeah, recruiting for the most part has been shut down.
I know they've loosened some of the restrictions in Georgia, and I know guys are getting the workouts in there. What have you done during these past few weeks to, keep yourself and your family busy?
Well, again, I've got 3 dogs, so my dogs have been walked into the ground. We walk just about every day, and I've put a lot of miles on my shoes just walking the neighborhood. My wife and I, and we've got a nice backyard. Our kids can get outside and play. My son is a freshman in high school. We've got some baseball stuff at the house, so he gets his swings in. We play catch every day. He's a catcher. We do some catching drills. My daughters are cheerleaders, so they're out doing their activities and their flips and all the stuff that I can't certainly do that they're doing. But and just watching a lot of bad TV like everybody else. We're captivated by The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. I'm sorry to say that I did watch The Tiger King. I can't take that time back that I invested in it, but I did watch it. It was awful, but it's like a train wreck. You couldn't look away. But so just trying to get outside, exercise, and then watching some bad TV.
I am with you on that one. Tiger King is not. I could not stand to. I watched the first 2 episodes. I'm like, why?
Yep. You
Yeah,
can't get those 2 hours back, Casey. But we got into it. We started watching everything. Again, it was like a train wreck. You couldn't look away. But no, we've had a lot of family meals at home. Eating dinner as a family. We've got 3 kids, and they're all very active, and they're all going in different directions normally. So we've had dinner as a family almost every single night, which is a little bit different than the norm.
yeah. All right, Scott, thank you so much for taking some time to join us, and good luck to you, and hopefully we'll see you back on the diamond next year.
All right. Thanks, Casey.
All right, man.